Good evening, friends. We are live on session number 5, Playing the Market Stocks. So those who have joined may probably may want to say hi on the chat so that I know you guys are there. All right, in our last session, we talked about the selection of stocks. Then we also talked about whether we should be selecting any stock or should be looking at uh, the performance of the stocks. And the reason why we said that was because the stocks are more or less moving in some kind of cycle. So they have a good time and they have bad times. Now, it will be so ideal if we are able to ride our investment when the time of the stock is good and we are out of the stock and move to some other stock when the time is not good. Now, the problem is, how do we know whether the time of a stock is good or bad at any given point of time? That is essentially the reason why a lot of our trading decisions are based on, in the sense that it is a kind of personality that we have to develop. We have to really understand how and what kind of decision we are making so that we are always on the right side of our investment. Now, a lot of us would probably hear from many sources that good stocks are always good stocks, and even if the market is not doing very well for them, it's okay to go ahead and invest. And today, I am going to talk about the fact that it's not very difficult to be on the right side of the performance of any stock that we are talking about. In the next 15 minutes, we are going to look at a couple of examples and see what we mean when we say that a stock is in its performing zone or not, and the decision that we have to take accordingly. Towards the end of the session, I am going to talk about the idea of getting to know the stocks that we are supposed to invest in and those stocks which are not good at this point of time. So let's go ahead and look at what we mean when we try to say whether a stock is in performing zone or not. Now, what we have is the price chart of our favorite Reliance.com, Reliance Industries, which obviously is the number one stock today in our stock market. And obviously, we have the news that our Mukesh Ambani has moved on to number 6th position in the world's richest man. So this is because of the stock that you are looking at right now. Now let's try and analyze where we are in the case of this stock. I'll just try and show you the pattern of the stock across, I think it's about 5 years. So we are talking about last 5 years, and we will see how the stock has performed in the last 5 years from only two perspectives: The one is whether it is in performance zone or not. Look at this from since about 2014 all the way till about 2017. If I were to draw a line of its performance, then what is it going to look like? Let me just draw this line here. So look at this. If you see here, all the way from about 2014 June till about 2017 January, the stock essentially stayed within this zone. Now you cannot simply say that this zone is a high performing zone at this point of time. Maybe unless you take a look at this area. In 2016 it went up a little bit, but quite sporadically. But now if you were to take a look at the performance zone right here, so when it started moving up from here, and currently it is right here. Come on. Sorry, the performance of the screen is a little slow, so I'm not able to really match it up. But all I'm trying to say here is that from 2017 all the way till here, even though there were a few sessions, a few time when it went down a little bit, but still the direction of the stock is pretty much going up as compared to the direction that we just saw between 2014 and 17, where the stock essentially did not move a lot. Now what it tells me that if somehow somebody can tell me that Reliance stock is now in performance zone from 2017 and it is still going on very strongly at this point of time. If somebody tells me that the stock is in a performance zone, then wouldn't it be a good idea that we invest in Reliance when we are supposed to invest in this? So this is one example. Now I want to show you quickly another example of how a stock can typically move. This stock is State Bank of India. I think most of you must be aware of State Bank of India, the largest bank we have here. And this is a stock chart, price chart of SBI of last 5 years. Now let's take a look. The cyclical nature is pretty evident. It goes up, then goes down, goes up again, comes down again. And by the way, when I'm saying down, it is going down for the whole of year. पूरे एक साल ही नीचे गया है. And then when it comes up pretty strongly, but of course it went up for a good 1 year, and then it goes down for another 1 year, and then it goes up for almost 2 years, and it stayed pretty much even though I would say it's probably down most of the time, but it's pretty much stayed as it is. And after the pandemic, look at this, it has gone down to the levels of where it was back in 2014. Now even if we are very sure that the stock of SBI is a very good stock, because SBI is the largest bank of our country and obviously is fully supported by the government, then what can go wrong in this? Well, maybe nothing can go wrong as far as the bank is concerned, but if you were stuck at the wrong time in this stock, you would probably have made a lot of loss. And for example, if you had invested somewhere in 2014, right now, right here, you would have the same price today as you would have had in 2014, which essentially means that in 6 7 years you wouldn't have made any money, right? But there were pockets of possibilities of making a lot of money looking at these instances of when the stocks actually went up. So again, what if someone can tell me that this is the right time to move into SBI, like right here, like right here, and in fact, like right here. So if somebody can tell me this is the right time to move into the stock because the stock is in performing zone, then I think for end user like you and me, we have a big story as to what to invest and where to invest, right? Now, this is a classic conundrum that most of us, like investors, are facing all the time. We are typically looking at some of the companies that are well known, and without understanding the performance of those companies, we go ahead and try and invest there. But then we may lose money for a long time, and even if we stay invested in the stock, it might just take a lot of time to just make any profit in those stocks. So therefore, it is very important that we take a very close look at the stock prices, and we understand pretty clearly that the stock is in performance zone, and then we move in. And the moment we realize that the stock is not in a performance zone, we move out. Now, if you are able to get that information, then let me tell you that you are actually going to manage your money. Uh, Let me say this, much better way than than a fund manager of any mutual fund. I hope you all know mutual fund. Maybe sometime later we can talk about it. But mutual fund is a managed fund wherein you essentially deposit your money with mutual fund, and the fund manager makes a call as to whether to invest in this company or that company. So the manager will invest your money into some stocks, and the end result of it is that the collective performance of all the stocks that the fund manages will give you the performance. Now, if you get to know the stocks that are performing today, and you move in only those stocks today, then wouldn't it be a better idea that you manage your funds yourself than a fund manager who is not only managing a lot of money, a lot of people's money, but they are also having a lot of regulations that they have to cover up, apart from the cost that they have to take out from your investment so that they can pay their salaries. So essentially what I'm trying to tell here is that it is a good idea if you are able to get a good understanding of whether a stock is in performance zone or not, and invest yourself, and move in and move out based on a good judgment of whether the stock is in performance zone or not. To that extent, we have created a lot of yeah, Himanshu Shankar writes, should have invested in Reliance when he was in college. Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, you can say that it would have been a good idea to invest in Reliance in 2017. But let me tell you this, even today, the performance of the stock is actually going in the direction that is going to be beneficial to you, because Reliance is in performance zone today. It may not be starting in a performance zone, but it is actually in performance zone today. Anyways, to that extent, our company Civil Machines has started to launch a few fintech applications, and one of the applications that is going to be beneficial to you is buy and hold application. It essentially uses the same analytical tools that the fund managers or other financial professionals are using. But what it tells you is that if you use the application, it is going to tell you all the stocks that are in performance zone today. right? Now, as I told you, we want to invest in the stock which is in performance zone today. So if somebody can tell me that this particular stock is in performance zone today, then I think it is a good decision point for us to take whether we can invest in that stock or not. So we have launched an application called Buy and Hold, which essentially tells you if a stock is in performance zone, you can invest in that, and it will also tell you on a particular day, whenever it does, when the stock moves out of its performance zone. So it has a lot of analytical tool that goes behind the scenes, but it tells you clearly as to which stocks are in performance zone and which are not, and therefore you can make your investment and trading decisions very easily. So that's kind of wraps up for today's session. In the next session, we are going to be discussing the buy and hold application, and we are going to be looking at a few stocks that are coming as a signal in that application, which can be one of the stocks that we want to invest in, because those stocks will be in performance zone. So in the next session, we are going to be covering our application called buy and hold. Now, if we have any other question, we can answer right away. You can throw it on the chat. Well, I guess there are no questions. So in that case, we'll wrap this session up, and we'll see you on Thursday, same time, 7 o'clock. We are going to be talking about buy and hold application. You, that will be your friend for your life as far as your investment is concerned. So till that time, have a great time, and we'll see you on Thursday, 7 o'clock. Thanks a lot. Bye.